Okay, on the bench today we have a brand new President Ronald 10 and 12 meter radio. I actually received 3 radios from President. I'll be doing one radio a review, one radio a month, and they also sent another antenna for me to review. So this is the one for this month, which is actually, so I guess probably around the beginning of the next 2 months, I'll be doing other President radios. This one is, like I say, the Ronald's a 10-12 meter radio. It's AM and FM. I have not played around with any of the radios that they sent yet, so we get to do the scratch and sniff and smell test on this thing brand new out of the box. So let's crack into it and see what we got. Now, I know this is, and you can just look at the picture, see this is a really small radio. It's got some weight to it. I have not even looked at the manuals or anything. I can see, some of the features listed on the box here, but yeah, other than that, I'm all new to me. And we have our normal number 1 CB President sticker. Our manual, assuming bilingual. Yeah, it does. What do we got? 5 languages. So like all the other President manuals. Just take a quick look at some of the specifications here. Let's see what we got. And it looks like I am definitely not in English. That would be French. English. There we go. That's a little bit more like it. Might be able to read that. Okay. So, frequency coverage, 28 to 29.7 megahertz and 24.89 to 24.99 megahertz. 1.98 pounds, so you might as well say, a whisker's weight away from 2 pounds. So like I say, it's a heavy little radio for its size. Let's see here. The maximum current draw of 7 amps, but this thing's supposed to do up to peak 50 watts power, so yeah, it's going to have a considerable current draw. Maximum sensitivity at 20 dB SINED. We have published 0.7 microvolts or minus 110 dBm for AM, 0.35 microvolts or minus 116 dBm for FM. Image rejection 60 dB, intermediate frequency rejection rate 70 dB. The only thing I wish they would do, I kind of covered this in a video describing methods of doing receiver sensitivity test. 20 dB SINED. That's one gripe that I have. Manufacturers, all manufacturers, if you're dealing with radios, should use the international, we'll put that in quotation marks, the international standard of 12 dB SINED. That way you can, if everybody uses the exact same standard, then everything's easily comparable by just looking at a data sheet. Like I say, they give a published spec. That's a good thing. I just wish everybody would use the same standard. So, okay, so this is one of those ones that has the power cord. I guess I can zoom back out here. Has one of the power cords permanently attached to the radio. Okay. Looking at the picture, I thought that might be a heatsink, but it's not. That's metal cover, so it's just an embossed cover. Has a heatsink on the back, though. Yeah, like I say, I was almost thinking that was going to be one of those radios where the half or more of the radio is going to be a heatsink, but it's not. Oh, and let's see what we get for accessories here. If I can, they're in the bottom. Mounting bracket, microphone, and normal, mounting hardware. One thing I have noticed, the earlier President radios, I actually have one, I think right over here. Yeah, let me just unscrew this off of one of my multiple bench radios. These were the microphone cords you used to get with them. I mean, they're all kind of rubberized, but the earlier cords were kind of a plasticky type rubber. They were a little bit stiff. Actually, even the diameter, the more modern cord's a little bit thinner too. But the newer cords seem a little bit more rubbery and more flexible, which is a good thing. Actually, it's really springy. Yeah, where these, when you pull it, it kind of comes back slowly. Yeah, this thing's like a coil spring. I mean, it just snaps back. I much prefer, get this microphone reattached to my radio over here. I much prefer the more flexible cords, because especially when you've got a radio mounted some distance away from you and you've got to pull the microphone, especially if you don't have the radio mounted very well and you go pulling on the cord, you might yank your radio off, let's say the shelf, if you're using something like this in a base station type application. So the more flexible cord like this is much more appreciated. Okay. So of course we're not going to plug it in, we're going to tear it apart. We want to see what's inside of this critter. So we'll just get out the power driver here, save a little bit of time. And I'm expecting good build quality. It's one thing I really like about President radios. Actually, there's several things I like about President radios, but just the build quality. You know, there's lots of companies making radios nowadays, not as many as there used to be back in the day, in the CB boom or heyday, but, you know, the manufacturing quality has fallen so far, you know, in the last 10 to even 20 years. Some radio manufacturers that used to make nice radios, yeah, now not so much nowadays. Yep, yeah, it's just a neat touch, isn't it? Huh, it is, it's vented. Okay, so there's actually slots. I don't know if I can get the angle right there, you can see light through there. Yeah, it's actually vented. So I'm assuming the slots in the bottom here are also vented. And so I don't pull the half of the connector body off of the board there. Hold that down. Okay, so first off, I can tell you, like I say, I had not even looked at the service manual on one of these radios, so just turn it sideways. I can tell you right now, if you buy one of these radios, like I say, hadn't looked at the manual, so I wasn't sure what I was going to find in here. If you buy one of these and somebody tells you, oh yeah, you need to send this to a shop, or if the person or shop that's selling it to you says, yeah, you need to let us do an alignment to it, tell them to go pound sand. You see what I see? No alignment. There's nothing to align in here. So if someone says they're going to do an alignment to this thing and get you all kinds of power and a lot better receive, I'm here to tell you they're lying to you. But with the type of technology that President's using in their radios, and actually a few other manufacturers, but just by circuit design, using surface mount components, tolerances are kept a lot tighter. One of the main reasons there is just the components, you don't have leads anymore. You know, when I say leads, I mean, you reach over here and grab an inductor, actually. I got sitting on the bench here. So, like this inductor right here. It's got wire leads on it. Well, that adds more inductance and capacitance into the circuit, and it depends on exactly how this wire is bent, what direction it's bent, mounted down to the circuit board. That can change the characteristics of a circuit, so you need to do an alignment to get, all of those components to basically play well together. If you do something surface mount design, pretty much every radio is almost exactly the same. The components mounted directly down to the circuit board. It just cuts down on lead inductance and capacitance. So, and there's literally nothing in here for adjustments. I mean, nothing. There's no trimmer resistors. There's nothing. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to look at the manual now, especially since I do warranty work on, on President radios. It is nice. One thing, yeah, from my point of view, when I'm working on a radio, I hate radios where the boards aren't very well marked. As you can see the underside of this radio, you can see all these little white circles here with text beside it. Those are all test points. That's so nice. There's nothing worse than working on a radio, trying to find, when you're looking at that, a bunch of fly droppings on a board, because surface mount radios, these parts are small. These are, yeah, it looks like pretty much the majority of these components are 0402 size components. Trying to find a test point, you may need to touch this capacitor or a resistor. That can be a pain in the backside. That's nice right there. I can just flip the radio over, all the test points. They have dedicated test point pads all over the board. Nice board quality. Nothing's flexing here. Nice all aluminum structure the whole way around. Does have a neat little internal heatsink here. Of course, we're going to have some of our voltage regulation and whatnot over here on the right-hand side. So yeah, they added, even though they're using an aluminum structure, which is good for very quickly dissipating heat throughout the rest of the chassis here, it's still nice to see that they did go the extra mile and add a heatsink here. I think it was the President Andy that I did. I was kind of surprised to see a heatsink on that. I like it. That's a good thing, seeing a heatsink. That's a single final, which this one's looking like it should be, and at 50 watts peak power. It almost has to be, yeah. So this looks like a 1x2 configuration. It's got one IRF 520 driving two IRF 520s, and just taking a closer look here. Yeah, I really just don't see any adjustments. This almost has to all be done through menus. So let's power this little critter up, and we'll just see exactly how well this thing works. Oh, and then the front board down here. Of course, we're going to have main microprocessor down on the main board, and then you're going to have the display driver IC and processor up here on the front board. Does this have key beep? I'm just looking to see. There's a relay in this radio. I was wondering why it had a relay. It's got a key beep. That, they might use that for PA mode. Let me get the cord untwisted here. Zoom back out here a little bit. I need a little bit more wire than that to get into my binding post. Like I say, this doesn't use a plug. This uses a permanently attached cord. I need a little bit more wire to get into my three-way binding post over there. That's better. Now the camera mounts in the way. Oh, for Pete's sakes. Get in there, little guy. Okay. I'm not a fan of this type of cord, from my perspective at the bench, but, once, from a user's standpoint, it doesn't really matter, because you install, in theory, you're only going to install your radio once. But yeah, me here at the bench, I'm always having to plug in, unplug radios all day long while I work on them. So it's the only thing that kind of sucks about radios that have a permanently attached cord. The strippers out of the way. Let me turn on the communications test setup here. And hope I turned on my power strip. And let's just use the factory speaker, so get this plugged back in. Come on, get in there, little guy. And we'll just set her like that. Okay. Power strip's turned on. Let me get the microphone plugged in here. And I can pretty much guarantee you I'm going to have to look at the manual. Okay. My communications test set's still booting up, so actually while that's doing that, let's just flip the radio over. I'll get out a couple bench cookies here, jack up the front end a little bit. We'll just reposition the camera. Let me turn this other overhead light off. Okay. And how does that color, gotta look at my viewfinder here. Yeah, that color, it looks good in person, but at least in the viewfinder, it's kind of hard to see. Though, with this new camera, I don't know, it may actually be picking that up okay. Trying to see something on a small viewfinder is always kind of sketchy. I'm not even sure how to change the channel or the display colors. So let's just grab the manual here and see. On off, kind of self-explanatory. These do have, pretty much like all the President radios, they have the ASC or the automatic squelch control, which I really, really, really like. It's great in mobile applications. I mean, I like the ASC actually even here on bench radios, but in mobile applications where your noise floor can be continuously variable. You know, you're driving around town, especially if you're in a town. You drive past a gas station with a bunch of, overhead lights, the gas pumps on, there's a lot of extra noise. Well, on a normal radio with just regular squelch, you've got your squelch turned up to blank out the noise. But every time you drive past something extremely noisy, has a lot of electronic interference, it breaks squelch, so you have to readjust your squelch up again. And then when you get out in the country, if you're like me, you live out in the middle of nowhere. You drive through a little town, there's noise. You'd have to turn the squelch up. You get out of town, you can turn the squelch back down. Well, with the ASC system, it's basically you just turn the squelch control the whole way down till the ASC is displayed on the screen. It's a set it and forget it. And let the little miniature man inside the radio tell you when there's an actual conversation's going on. But, and then if you want to use the regular squelch, you just turn the squelch control up until the ASC logo goes away. Then you have normal squelch. You can hear static there. And you just turn the radio, turn the squelch up like you normally would. But like I said, I really like the ASC mode. That's just, it's just so nice. And even without looking at the manual, I'm going to assume mode should be AM, FM. Yes, it is. It changes from AM to FM. Okay, so the band changes the 100 kilohertz position. Yeah, 24, 890, and then it flips to 28, actually 4 actually goes in 200 kilohertz steps, 28.6, 28.8, okay, so they've got it in 200 kilohertz steps. Let's put her on, no, shoot. Let me get back to 28. Oh, I just went past it again. Okay, 28. I want to go mode FM. Let's see. Pushing, I'm going to assume we have ANL noise blanker high cut down here, so to long press this mode button, that should set those. And it does. There's noise blanker, there's high cut, there's noise blanker high cut. Oh, it's in, let's switch to AM. Yeah, okay. ANL noise blanker, high cut, and ANL noise blanker. Yeah, there's no ANL or automatic noise limiter in FM. So if we switch back to FM, you can see we have noise blanker, high cut. So we'll just turn both of those off. Scan, it's got looks like two emergency channels. I'll have to check the manual here, but I'm assuming those can probably be set Other President radios, you're actually able to set your emergency channel to whatever channel you want. Scan has dual watch, also has echo, and then the rotary selector switch here is also a push button. Okay, so actually that changes the... If you can see the cursor moving underneath of the frequency display right there. So that's the 100 kilohertz position. What position is that? Okay, that's the 5 kilohertz steps. Okay, so if you have it in that position, it's 5 kilohertz steps. Hit the button there. Then it's 100 hertz resolution. 1 kilohertz, 10 kilohertz, 100 kilohertz. So yeah, if you leave it in that position, it'll change in 5K steps. That's kind of nice. So you can do it in, as low as 100 hertz resolution, or if you go into kind of like this automatic range type area here, you can go to the 10 or 5K steps. That's kind of nice. Okay, let's get the test set up here. Generator frequency, 28 megahertz. Modulation, FM. I have the modulation frequency set to 1 kilohertz. Deviation is set to 3 kilohertz. And the RF level that I'm injecting into the radio right now is at minus 110 dBm. And actually, what was the spec for this? For FM, maximum sensitivity at minus 116 dBm. So let's stick in minus 116. Okay, so that is minus 116 dBm on FM. For 20 dB SINAD, and yes, that definitely sounds like 20 dB SINAD. And we'll just keep turning the signal level down here. I'll turn the volume up some more. This is something I'm going to have to learn to play with the headset microphone that I have here. I've got to just over a period of a couple videos play around with this, find at approximately what volume I need to set radios so you people can hear it, in the video. Yeah, I can look at my viewfinder here on the camera. It's got a dB scale. Yeah, you should be able to hear that okay. Oh, squelch just kicked off. Let's turn the ASC off. So actually, the level is at minus 118.4 dBm, and it's squelched. So right there's minus 120. There's minus 125 dBm. Yeah, I'd probably call that maximum right there, because if you get much lower than that, the noise floor is going to be so low. Be a little bit crazy. Let's change to AM. Let me change modulation to AM. Okay, and the published spec for sensitivity on AM was minus 110, which is what I have it set at right now, so that's minus 110 dBm. And I'll just turn it down. And there's minus 115. Still fairly copyable. And there's minus 117. We'll just take it to 120. Yeah, it still can be heard at 120. Let's just try the A&L noise blanker and high cut. Let me turn the signal level up a little bit. We'll go to something like minus 100 or minus 100 dBm. So there's with the A&L noise blanker and high cut on. I can barely hear any static or any noise, and then we'll turn it off and see if there's any difference. Yeah, definitely. That's one thing I like about President radios, the high cut. I think that's probably almost more useful than the A&L and noise blanker. Well, maybe not the noise blanker. You know, in a old gas powered car with spark plug wires, yeah, noise blanker was mandatory to get rid of the pulse noise out of your ignition system. But the high cut, it limits your audio, your receive audio bandwidth, or it cuts off. It's just as it says, a high cut, but it's really good at getting rid of that hiss and static. You know, so if I turn the signal level down some more, let's go back down to minus 110, and you can hear the hiss. Just your normal background hiss. There's A&L noise blanker. I took out a little bit of it. Yeah, high cut definitely helps. And both of them together really cleans the signal up. So, yeah, that's really nice. Let's try transmit here. So let me grab the microphone, and we are still in AM. And I need to change my analyzer center frequency. I'll swing the camera up here in a second. Okay. Let's get the camera repositioned here. Now this is I think I have found that if I set the camera actually way back and zoom in, it keeps the camera out of my way. Okay, that's pretty good and visible. Okay, so we're in AM. We have the frequency set to 28 megahertz. I have the center frequency here set to 28 megahertz. I have the bandwidth on the or the span set to 10 kilohertz or 0.01 megahertz. So let's give her a key down and see what it looks like. And we'll turn on a marker here. Peak marker. 41.3 dBm. So, what did I say? I don't know if I even said what was the advertised transmit power on this. Look here in the manual. Carrier power, 13 watts AM, 50 watts PEP, and 35 watts on FM. So we're in AM now, so we should see 13 watts of power, which is just a little bit over 41. And yes, we're at 41.3. 12.5 watts is 41 dBm and 16 watts is 42. So yeah, 41.3 would be almost dead nuts on at 13 watts. Now here's me talking into the microphone. Let's give her a whistle. Looks good. So let's turn on my oscilloscope over here, which we use, which is attached to the communication test set to its IF output, so we can monitor the modulation package. Let me just really quick switch to FM mode. We'll take a power measurement again. I said that was what, advertised at 35 watts. So we'll give her a key here. And we have 45.4 dBm. So 45 dBm is 32, and we have what, 45.3. So yeah, it looks like FM power measurement, again, is pretty much dead on. Now, I do believe this is adjustable as well. This has variable power. If I key the microphone... Okay, if I key the microphone, push the channel selector switch, and then turn the knob, I can turn the power down to what's 35 dBm. So on FM, the power is adjustable down to 35 dBm, which is, what, 3.2 watts. So yeah, it's adjustable from 3.2 watts. Push the button all the way up to maximum power. And if we switch modes to AM, push the button. see how far we can turn it down. We can get it turned down to 30.8 dBm. So just that's about 30. That's almost 32, or I mean, like 1.25 watts. So yeah, you can turn this thing down to like less than 1.5 watts, and then turn it up to its full rated power. And we have 41.2 dBm there. And now that I've had the radio keyed a little bit, let me just feel the heat sink. Well, I can say the heat sink on the back of the radio is still pretty much cold. Wow. Let me zoom out here, or just move the camera down. This is a heat generator. This heat sink is cold. Well, I don't know if I'd say cold, but it's not much above room temperature, the one on the back of the radio. If you touch the side of the radio here, that's hot. I see why they have that internal heat sink they added to this. Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's painful or anything, but it's definitely... And one thing I've noticed, all of the President radios, this side of the radio, they all run hot. That's because all of the regulators are over here. So, there's basically a lot of stuff going on this side of the radio. You've got your audio amplifier, power transistors, voltage regulator, the main regulator that controls voltage for the, the main radio. Yeah. I'd say it's acceptable, but yeah, I do understand why. If it didn't have that internal heatsink, I can't even imagine how hot this would get. So, and that's probably why they added some ventilation slots in the cover here to actually let some air flow through the radio. So, good on them for doing that. Keep the radio from blowing up. But, like I say, now let me just turn a 1 kilohertz audio tone on. And we'll just stick that in through the microphone. I'm just turning the actual audio down over here at the... And let me get my oscilloscope set up over here so we can actually look at the modulation package. Oh my God, what did I do to my spectrum analyzer? Or not my spectrum analyzer, my oscilloscope. This is a first. Oh my God. What did I do? It's in Chinese. What the? Wow, I have no idea how I did that. We're going to have to start over here again. Turn that back on. I accidentally hit some mystery. All the time I've used this oscilloscope, I have never seen Chinese writing on it. That is definitely a first. So, like I say, I like the radio. It's very small. It's a fairly high power, or actually not fairly. It is high power for the size when it comes to this type of radio. We're in Chinese again. What in the hell did I do? Is it like that on all channels? It is. How in the heck did I do that? Huh. I don't know. Well, I'm going to have to pause the camera here and figure out how in the heck I changed the language. I'll be back. Okay, now that I have English language back on my oscilloscope, let's try this again. So we want to take a look at AM modulation and see how close to 100% modulation this actually is. So turn on my 1-tone kilohertz audio signal, key the microphone, and that's pretty darn close. We're like 90, somewhere between probably 93, 95%. I'd have to take a measurement there. But yeah, that looks really good. And I can vary the... AMC circuit works good. I'm turning the volume up on that and down, and it's holding and not going distorted on me. So that looks really good. So I'm liking this little guy. So we can take a look back over here at the spectrum analyzer. Right there. So there's AM. And now let's switch to FM. No use showing you FM on an oscilloscope because it's just going to look like a solid bar. And there's FM. And looks good. Nice and clean. What I'd expect to see. So I think this little radio, if you're looking for a compact little AM FM rig, you know, it's an export radio. So, you know, if you're looking for an export radio, I think this is a good little radio for you. Like I say, some of the other features, we just quick look in the manual here, get back to the English. Yeah, normal ASC, short press, set, yeah, so C menu, emergency, set 1 and 2 on page 23. So yes, you can, and then for priority channel, so yeah, you can change the channels. Echo's adjustable, or you know, it's a long press echo key, enable and disable. And then there's an echo set. Has the dual watch, which is nice when you just want to monitor 2 channels. Yeah, that's what everything on the display with all the characters would look like. And band mode, we've already seen how that works. Yes, this does have a 6-pin microphone, which is pretty much the standard on the President radios. Has the Electret style microphones, which are actually nice. I mean, for a stock microphones, these things actually sound good on air. Unlike a lot of radios where, yeah, usually the microphones that come with a radio, I tell most people, I don't know about throwing it away, but you know, stick it in a box and buy a good mic. These actually sound good, but they're not your old, you know, just the regular old dynamic microphones. Like I say, they're an Electret style mic. Has the built-in channel up-down buttons, which I really appreciate in a mobile radio. You know, in a base station application, yeah, you just reach over. You don't have to worry about taking your eyes off the road. But, you know, if you know you're on channel 19 and you want to go to, you know, like a CB radio, or let's say this radio, you're on, you know, 28.5 megahertz, and you know you want to go to 28.4. Well, if you have whatever you have your channels increment set at, you know you just need to go down maybe 5 presses to go up or down 50 kilohertz or 500 kilohertz, depending on what you have your the either hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, or 100,000s set to. But yeah, I like the buttons on the microphone. Like I say, just handy in a mobile application. What else we got here? Up, down, the antenna jack, external speaker, yes, PA. Backlight colors. That's one thing I definitely wanted to see what they actually look like. So let's see, as I've found that in the manual. Radio back on here. Let me turn off some of this noisy test equipment. Yes, everything has fans in it nowadays. So, backlight. Press for 2 seconds. F key to access the menu. Up, down key button. So, we'll use the microphone here apparently. Oh, okay, that actually changes. Yeah, if you use the buttons on the microphone, that changes your whatever you want to change. So, like, you know, emergency channel 1 set, you can change the channel. You know, channel 1, channel 2. Actually, what does it say here? Push knob. Okay, so if you want to make a change, so let's say channel 1, press the knob. Yeah, I can change whatever I want to set, you know, like emergency channel 1. So I can scroll through. I can either use the microphone or this. Oh, okay, that's actually setting the band. Oh, and the mode. Okay, that's nice. You can change the channel number, the band, and the mode for each of the emergency channels. So Roger beep on and off. Yeah, you can turn that on or off. Echo set. Dual watch setting. So you can set your priority channel. So the way that works is whatever frequency you have the radio on, if you enable the dual watch function, it'll then basically scan between whatever that frequency is and whatever frequency you have set for your dual watch or priority channel. Waited too long, it timed out. Let's see. Scan type. What is that? Back to the manual. Mic RF gain, brand PA settings. Scan type. Press for 2 seconds. I'm going to push knob, up down buttons. S9 scanning stops when busy channel is found and doesn't restart as long as the current channel remains active. T1 scanning stops when busy channel is found and returns to scan after 5 seconds even if the channel remains active. So that's, the one, it'll scan and it'll stay on that channel as long as squelch is broken. The second one there, it will scan and it will, once it finds a signal that breaks squelch, it'll stay there for 5 seconds, but then then it will continue to scan. So that's kind of nice because it gives you 5 seconds to listen to it. If you want to actually stay on that channel, you could just key your microphone. That'll knock it out of scan, and then you could stay on that channel. Or you could hit the button on the radio. But yeah, it's kind of nice. It has 2 different scan modes. SWR. Ooh, this has the automatic SWR. Yeah, look at that. SWR 1.0. Okay. Span. Is that the channel? Span. Back to the manual here. What is span? Span. When this function is active, the frequency can be adjusted continuously. A short press of the knob displays a bar decimal frequency. Up, down on the microphone. The last 2 digits of the frequency may blink if it doesn't match exactly the frequency in the displayed channel. Increase and decrease the frequency. Okay, so let me just play with that here. So function span is on. So if I turn that off, and then okay, it turns it off. Remember how before when I was saying you could change the steps of the frequency from 100,000, 10,000, 100,000 hertz resolution? When you turn the span off, you can't do that. When you push the button, or the channel selector switch here, nothing happens. Turn the span, back on, select, knock it out. Yeah, and I can go back in and change the span now. So yeah, it allows you to either want it to be adjustable or not. Yeah, mic type. DY, I'm assuming is dynamic, and EL for electret, possibly? Ronald 10 comes with an electret microphone. I'm reading from the manual here, as well as the dynamic 6-pin presidency diagram. So you can select. Well, that's nice. So if you're not using an electret microphone, I'd have to get a voltmeter out. If I had to take a guess, it's powered electret microphone cartridge. So there's DC voltage present. What it probably does, I'm just guessing here, but that might remove the voltage from the pin when you're using a non-electret type microphone. Like an older crystal, ceramic, or just a regular dynamic style microphone cartridge. So that's nice. It gives you the choice of what style microphone you have. That's nice. Mic gain. Oh, I didn't even have the mic gain turned up the whole way. It was actually like a little bit over half. Yeah, but again, with an electric microphone, these things are really sensitive. You really don't need your mic gain cranked up the whole way. RF gain, so yeah, you can adjust your RF gain from nothing up the whole way. Band name. There's another interesting, what is band name? Blinks in the LCD. Name. What do they mean by up, down? So they're just talking about the letter over here. If you want to, I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but you can do it. The default band names are, band A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. You could change those. So I guess they figured they'd give you the option of doing it. I don't see why you would ever want to, but you can. PA settings. What does that do? Oh, okay, that probably, yeah, that's how you enable it. Because there is no PA button here. Reset band. Okay, I guess that's if you changed your band's naming, you can set it back. And color, which is what we wanted to play with. So there's green. There's a cyan. Yellow, which kind of has a greenish tinge to it. There's purple. Clear. Red, which is almost, to me, it's almost more orangish. Yeah, blue, yeah. It just, the blue's just... Blue, for me, personally, that color and that color, I don't like. Actually, that color just, I don't like the appearance of it. I don't like blue because you kind of get that halo effect. That's why I don't like blue LEDs. Purple doesn't look bad, and it doesn't have that halo effect. It actually looks rather pleasing in person. Yeah, for me, green is usually the color I choose, or this kind of, they call it RE for red. This kind of an orangish red color. I'd probably pick either this or the green. Gives you the best contrast. Yeah, I like green the best. You can really see the digits, or, the characters on the display, at least in person. How well the camera will zoom in here a little bit more. Yeah, now let's change them again really quick. Yeah, like I say, even the camera, it's blinding the camera. See how nice, crisp, and clear it is when you have it on green or the red? The green's probably the best. Both the blues are, yeah, that, again, that one's very clear. You can very easily see the display. Now, I'm looking in my viewfinder. I won't know until I upload this to the computer. In the viewfinder, this looks blue. In person, it looks very purple. Purple is definitely purple. So I don't know if that might just be a camera thing. Clear. Yeah, I like the green. I'm definitely going to leave this on green. Key beep on, so yeah, Roger beep. Wait a minute. Oh, key beep. Okay, that would be, yeah. Notice there's no more beeps when I change it, which is nice, because actually I hate key beeps. Roger beep. Turn that on and off. So there you go. There's all the stuff in the menu settings. So there you go. There's the President Ronald 10-12 meter rate. 10 and 12 meter radio. Pretty straightforward manual. No BS. Straight to the point. I kind of like manuals like this. And actually, that's why they can fit what I say. Yeah, there's 5 languages in this thing, and it's still fairly thin. They give you all the information you need, but nothing you don't. I hate manuals that half of the manual is a sales brochure. I don't need a sales brochure. If I've already got the radio and I'm looking at the manual to see how to operate it, you don't need to sell it to me. I've already bought it. In this case, it was provided free of charge for review. But you know what I mean. I've just never understood that. And manufacturers put like sales and marketing type stuff in their owner's manual. You don't need to sell it to the person. They've already bought the blasted radio. So yeah, this is a nice little. Oh, I didn't even notice that timeout timer. I must have skimmed right past that. Oh, and Talkback actually has Talkback as well. Well, it'd be nice to have Talkback for setting your echo level. So yeah, yeah, and then the echo to turn the echo on and off. Yeah, echo on, echo off. You just long press the emergency 1-2 button, and then for dual watch, you just long press the scan button. But yeah, I like this little radio. I think it's a nice little radio. I may stick this in a mobile application, see how it sounds. May even have to do a review on the the next antenna that they sent. I'll tell you what, that little small guy I did the last review I did was the President. God, I'm going to screw this up. I think that's what the New York antenna. That little teeny tiny CB antenna they sent me. I think that was the President New York. I'm horrible with models, names, numbers, and stuff like that. Part numbers, yeah, I can remember a part number, but yeah, when it comes to other stuff, some things my brain works great at remembering, others not so much. Model numbers and names, yeah, not so much. But that antenna just works amazingly well for its small size. Yeah, the next one that they sent me actually is a fairly large stainless steel whip with the little clear chamber at the bottom with the coil in the bottom. Yeah, I might have to. I don't know if that one's tunable to 10 meters though. I'll have to check. Of course, it is a tunable antenna. It's got a stainless steel whip, but I'll have to see what the frequency coverage range is on that antenna. But yeah, I might have to, like I say, might have to stick this in the mobile and actually try this out. Like I say, I just like it. It's small, compact, great for modern vehicles. I mean, what else can you say? So there you go. Don't want to jibber jabber all day long. The President Ronald 10-12 meter radio. Would I buy it? If I was looking for a radio with these features, I'd say yes. Now, if you're a screw turner, this definitely ain't the radio for you. There's no screws to turn. So golden screwdrivers, take note. There is no golden screwdrivering to be done inside of this radio. Thank God. From my perspective, that's great. I get, like the radio I just finished had been severely golden screwdrivered. I spent over a day undoing that disaster. Radio like this, there's actually two things about this radio that make it hard to next near impossible for the average radio hacker to work on. For starters, it's surface mount. That alone scares away most people like that. That's a good thing. I don't mind surface mount. I like surface mount. It actually has less problems than through-hole components. And then the other thing is there's no screws to turn. So yeah, I'm liking that. That's actually golden screwdriver. They've almost golden screwdriver proofed it. I guess you could say. So I'm just looking here. Man, just think about this, folks. When I look at something like this, compare this to something from the 80s or earlier. How big a radio that would have even half the features something like this has. How large it would be to have all of those features. There's just a lot of airspace in here, man. I mean, it's just amazing. And stuff can get smaller. I mean, if you look at like your cell phone, you look at the size of the components in your cell phone, it's just amazing though. Looking at a radio like this, I just think about that. Yeah, a multi-mode, multi-band radio, fairly high power, for the size of the radio. And man, there's just not much to it. It's amazing what you can do with a microprocessor. Or actually a couple microprocessors, usually a master and a slave and something like this. But yeah, it just, something just dawned on me. Where is the, Oh, no. Okay, there's that. I guess that's a filter. Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, where is the other? There's the 455 filter. I was looking for the other one. That's actually that. That's not a crystal. That's a crystal filter right there. Yeah, that is the oscillator crystal down there. Little surface mount jobber. So, anyhow, hope you enjoyed. If you're looking for a little small, very compact 10, 12 meter radio, AM, FM, give this radio a look. It's definitely worth it.